What's up guys, this is Astranox. It's time for the showcase of the buffed up version of Blaze Dingo. My boy, he is now able to defense break with his AoE skill number 2. Very good because if he lands a crit, he follow up with the skill number 1. So if he uses skill 1 versus a defense broken target, that target is gonna get demolished and it feels real good. I like the S imprint helping the team with some attack. This hero, I mean, he's got attack buff, invincibility for himself and an ally. A lot of healing, skill 3 especially. Skill 2, skill 1, very nice. You can use flat attack on this hero. If you have some pieces of gear with flat attack on the sub, you can even have flat attack on the main stat of your ring like I'm using, and it's gonna increase his damage quite a bit. More damage means more healing. I'm using Portrait of the Saviors. And of course, there are other artifacts that you can wear on him if you want more reliable damage, like Unity artifact. Maybe you wear a Soul Weaver artifact, like Celestine or something like that. You could be even building him with some bulk. Maybe you can have Water's Origin on him and use him more for like utilities. His skill number 3 is very powerful. But the thing is, there's some problems with Blaze Dingo. In the current meta in Arena, there's Bellion. Bellion's a problem. Politis is going to be a problem. And having 20 souls is definitely very powerful because you can skill 3, get an extra turn, so you have greater attack buff for himself with the exclusive equipment, because that's what I'm wearing. And then you have invincibility on himself and on an ally, and you're healing that ally pretty much like to the max of their health, right? And they will have attack buff, and they won't be able to take damage because they have invincibility unless the enemy takes that off, or unless you have enabled to buff debuff on you, which will block the buffs, which is really problematic. That's another issue. That's a weakness of Blaze Dingo if they're able to open up against your team and have that. And the skill number 1 is random, right? Like, you don't know who is gonna hit. That's the thing. Like, of course, best case scenario, it would take out Apocalypse Ravi, but at least she's debuffed. We'll see how that pans out. But Blaze Dingo, he can do some pretty good damage. I don't even have that much crit damage on him because I had to go with a lot of stats. I mean, you gotta go with some speed because it's important for him to actually go pretty high up there in your rotation. Now, especially that he has the defense break with the skill number 2. It is not reliable, it's not 100% chance, but it's something, right? And you're gonna be seeing battles where that defense break definitely gets put to good use. Now, if he goes first and you have the 20 souls, then you are buffing himself and someone else, so he could act as a buffer, right? If you're running like 2 damage dealer including himself, or maybe 3, maybe one of them is like they're getting self attack buff or something like that, so that can work out pretty good for you. Now, if you don't have the souls, that's quite a weakness of Blaze Dingo. He's just gonna be standing there with invincibility, or you will have to straight up use the skill number 2 into the skill number 1 automatically. If you have an attack buffer, right, someone that can pre-buff before he goes, then you can just do skill 2 into the skill number 1, like versus a Politis team. That's definitely something you're gonna have to pull off if you can't take care of Politis, because the skill number 3, if you activate that, Politis triggers, I mean, all sorts of things like a Ram reducing buff duration, a Bellion triggering skill 1 reducing buff duration, Politis reducing buff duration. All these things can mess you up, take the invincibility off of you and your ally, and sort of like nullify Blaze Dingo. So if you have the 20 souls though, Bellion's not there, you're using him in RTA, they don't have, they cannot block your souls, so that's more reliable unless you're running one mage and they ban that. But not a lot of players will be banning Blaze Dingo, which is good, so you could surprise some players. But that's one of the slots that you're going to be using, so you better put him to good use. Something I was running before was S imprint, so that's attack for the rest of the allies, 8.4% I believe. I was even running Warhorn on him, so that's even more attack for the rest of the team, and he was going last in my rotation. So at least if he didn't do nothing, well, at least he provided the imprint and the Warhorn. Sometimes he was able to cut because of Warhorn, but it's quite a weakness if the enemy is able to cut between your rotation before Blaze Dingo goes, because he's very soft. He's very easy to take down. He doesn't have much health. At least he has some pretty good defense, so you might be able to increase his survivability quite a bit by working on your sub stats. Maybe you can get some defense percentage here and there, a bit of health here and there, and that could work out for you, right? There's also the exclusive equipment that gives fast percentage, so that's a bit more survivability right there. But like in a battle, let's say it's time to clean up, right? He's gonna be pretty powerful to keep your team alive. He's not like a pure healer, but he's a hybrid, right? He can deal the damage, he can buff, he can like do some healing. So that can definitely keep you alive, just buy you an extra few turns that allow you to just straight up win the battle. And you can actually win quite a few battles because of that, especially versus the AI, because you might be baiting their element into certain heroes. So their damage might be spread across your whole team instead of being focused into just one hero, like if you're playing, you know, World Arena. So yeah, control environment, arena, guild war, so you can do pretty good for yourself with Blaze Dingo, right? But if you can take the attention away from himself, that's where he's gonna be very powerful. And if you really focus on an ally that needs help with the skill number 3, sometime, you know, you can save someone. You have invincibility on them, and let's say you're baiting, let's say you're putting invincibility on himself and someone, right? And the other hero is stealthed, like it's a Spectre Tenebria or something like that. Any hero that can be stealthed, right? The AI, well, they'll be forced to attack any of your hero with invincibility because they're not stealthed, right? So many times I've had like Crow AI just straight up horse a hero with invincibility, and it really feels good. It feels like you really helped out, but you do need to bring 20 souls for him to really make him shine. But if you don't, and you're fighting the AI, at least if you know they're not going to be able to take out invincibility, you can do some pretty solid damage. Like you can stay alive long enough to take them out, and he really can save your heroes in Guild War, and that's definitely very powerful. Like the thing that I talked about, right? Having a stealthed hero and himself plus someone else, like with invincibility, that works out really good. You could even have like 2 stealthed plus himself. And in that case, maybe you don't want the 20 souls to soul burn his skill 3 right off the bat, because you want to sort of like keep him invincible like for a full turn, so he's soaking the damage. I mean, he's just straight up not taking damage unless they're able to take it off, right? So in the meta, right, when you have teams that have like Hera, right, Conqueror Lilius, maybe like high-speed hero, players are throwing all their high-speed gear on those heroes, it can really mess you up if they get the turn number 1 and you're using Blaze Dingo. So you gotta be really careful about this stuff. You need to guarantee that you're gonna go first, because he's such a squishy target, and you need to put his kit to good use. Like if he's not gonna be completely like dead weight, like I said. If you're especially going with triple S imprint and a Warhorn or something like that, like he provides something, but it could be better. Like you could have a hero that has more speed, that can, you know, open against the enemy, cripple them, do something, at least maybe a healer, a reviver, a knight with Aureus. At least that's gonna be impactful. That's gonna be something that the enemy has to worry about. I mean, you could bring an Arbiter Veldred, like that's something that the enemy has to worry much more, you know. So Blaze Dingo, definitely hard to position. This is definitely a hero that's hard to position, and in arena versus current meta defenses, it's quite a nightmare. You have to, I mean, you don't have to avoid Bellion teams, but not having the souls, the S1 that can remove the invincibility, it really mess you up good, like really badly. Also, if you don't have debuff immunity, the enemy could just like do all sorts of things like debuff you, decrease hit chance debuff, provoke, or something like that, and then Blaze Dingo is gonna be like, yeah, he won't be able to do too much. But that healing that he can do with the skill number 3 especially, that's almost like bringing him back to full plus an ally. That's very strong if you use it smartly. And also the skill number 2 and the skill number 1, they will be healing the hero with the lowest health. And like I said, like especially in PvE content, he can do some work. But in PvP, you might be able to do pretty good for yourself, especially in control environment. But yeah, let us know what you guys think about all that in the comment section. That's it for this one. I'm Astranox. Good luck with all ya do. Peace out for now.